if there are, goddamn.
Hey, hey there, hi there, ho there, everybody. I had to go live because so many things happening today. Obviously in the news. Um, you know, obviously I'm bounding into comics. We don't write much about this because we kind of stay, with pop culture and everything. And in general, most of us in the Phantom Menace, what you'll hear us talk about is pop culture and things of that nature, and the stuff that we're into, because we kind of, around here usually stay willfully ignorant of politics to a pretty good degree. But today we're gonna rant about the stupidity of this whole impeachment thing, and I wanted to get into that. And I've got somebody that really knows their stuff in Orange Hat, and of course we're gonna get the perspective of Mar, who is from Germany, and he can kind of tell us from somebody that's not an American citizen
Not
just
quite involved.
just what people in the in the greater uh, world think about what's going on in our country. Before we get started, I do want to address. I saw the feed on Twitter, and somebody I consider like a sister, obviously Rosetta Allen. You know, at Tyrus Moon on Twitter, if you would like to follow her. She is a very amazing person, and she got, I believe, was it temp ban from Twitter?
12-hour suspension, yeah.
12-hour suspension, yeah. She got suspended for 12 hours, and it's through no fault of her own. It's simply because somebody got salty about the particular people that she wants to have in her circle of friends, and because they don't like those particular people, by projection, they put it on Rosetta. And most likely somebody reported her maliciously and got her banned. And I wrote an article recently, yesterday about Twitch and their nonsensical enforcement of their TOS and uneven bans, and it's the same thing over here on Twitter. They always ban unevenly. Twitter does a lot of censoring. Matter of fact, usually if you say something that's against the politically correct narrative, you'll get tossed for no apparent reason. It happens. If you dare speak your mind, a lot of times you'll get tossed, and it's a crying shame. And I want Rosetta and everybody else to know that sister, we stand with you, girl. Now I know right now that she's live, so it's why she's not on this panel at the moment. But I absolutely want her to know that we all stand with you. Myself, Mar, Orange Hat, we're all there for you. So much love, sis. We got your back. All right. So let me get into the elephant in the room, and that is the whole impeachment thing with Pelosi today. Pelosi came out and said that they are moving forward to official impeachment of Donald Trump. And for anybody that's watched the impeachment hearings the past couple weeks, obviously the lack of material witnesses, the fact that the whole thing was based on hearsay, anybody with a degree of intelligence and a brain can see that it just runs anti to common sense, especially in law practice, because when you have when you're searching for some criminal charges, you obviously have to have a valid criminal complaint, and B, you have to have valid material witnesses, which there hasn't been in this whole process. A credible material witnesses. It was all based on hearsay. And the biggest laugh that I got out of it the last couple of days was when they had friggin' college professors up there testifying. Are you serious? That had nothing to do with it. They had college professors up there testifying. Come on. You know, I mean, it's just.
Yeah, and that one idiot took a shot at Trump. This kid.
Of course they do, dude. It's, you know, I want to be clear. I am not the leader of the Trump fan club. There's a lot of times that the guy gets on my nerves. You know, I think he can be a knucklehead, and you know, I definitely think he should stay off Twitter. But
yeah, I know, right?
But the thing is like a lot of Americans, I voted for the man based on economy and trade because I knew he was going to be strong on both. And then there was also a lot of other things like preservation of history, things like that he was very much for, and also fixing immigration. So, you know, therefore, I voted for the man based on that.
Yep,
you know,
I voted based on the merits,
and
not the demerits.
And so far, from a standpoint of just being an observer, the guy has done what he could to a pretty fair degree of sticking to, you know, the promises that he ran on. So I'm fine. You know, I'm fine with that. As long as when you're voting for somebody, as long as they make, you know, as long as you can see an effort to stick to, you know, the platform that they're running on, then to me that's a sign of a vote that's placed in good faith that you can you know, feel satisfied about. And I feel very satisfied about it. But the thing is ever since 2016, the minute that Trump won, you know, obviously the phrase Trump derangement syndrome was born because it's very valid. The TDS has been running rampant all around because they could not handle the fact that he won. But okay, he won, and so now we get to the point where, you know, and this boggles my mind, the timing of this whole thing, because to me they're sabotaging themselves, because I know the way that I felt today after I saw her announcement, and it completely ruined my day, pissed me off, because it sends the bigger signal to me that democracy is going out the window here. You know, when you start to basically circumvent constitutional law to get a free and fair election overturned, at that point, you're moving toward the line of thinking of an authoritarian government and not a government that is free and by the people. And that is what both pisses me off and scares me, to be honest. I'm going to go across the way here and ask what your guys' thoughts are real quick before I continue. So, Orange Hat, go ahead.
Well, they decided to impeach. They knew they had the votes, and this whole thing is truly a sham because, honestly, I have been following it as best as I can. I have not seen a quid pro quo of the illegal kind, and they kept on changing the goalpost every time they ran out of reasons. And I mean, first it was quid pro quo, then there was no quid pro quo. Okay, well, then it was extortion. Well, then there was found no extortion. Then it was bribery. Then there was no bribery. They had lost their freaking minds, like you said, at the end of, or after the election in 2016. And they said, or they basically went into panic mode. They're like, we need to get this guy out. We don't care how we do it. And we're going to have to try to skirt the law in order and go into the gray areas in order to find a way to do it until he does something that is completely unforgivable. And he hasn't done anything that is unforgivable. The only thing that he has done that I am aware of, except for sounding like an asshole on Twitter at sometimes, is improve the economy. I mean, everybody's saying he's racist and they can't provide any proof. Everybody is saying he had, or yes, the tariffs thing. I'm not a big person on tariffs because they actually do tax the people of the United States more than the country that they're putting the tariffs on.
Right, tariffs boomerang, and I'm not a huge fan of those either.
And then there's other things like, I mean, believe me, I'm not a huge mudslinger. I mean, as we can see from yesterday's drama on Twitter in our own community, but but sometimes you gotta sling mud. And when it happens, you better make sure you sling it right. He hasn't really said anything that has been totally egregious. The only reason why people say it is so horrible is because he's the one saying it. When other freaking politicians have said far worse. There was a damn Democratic presidential candidate that said, if I'm elected, or we have nukes, and if the people don't like it, well, it's like, dude, you just threatened to nuke a U.S. population of your own people. That's how crazy people have gone.
That was Swalwell.
Yeah. Swalwell literally threatened to nuke a U.S. population because they wouldn't bow down to him. Then you have other idiots like frickin' O'Rourke that actually said he was going to circumvent the Second Amendment and completely get rid of it. It's like, dude, in any cosmic reality or fluke of a reality that you get elected, you would be removed very quickly based on your premise alone.
That's exactly right.
The oath of office is, I will uphold and preserve the Constitution of the United States of America. The Democrats, by pushing this whole impeachment thing, they have, like you said, circumvented and completely disrespected the Constitution. They've broken their oaths of the Constitution, and therefore they should actually be removed because they have actually violated the Constitution. They violated their oaths. They actually have grounds for themselves to be removed. But that won't happen because you actually need the full House of Congress to do it, and the Senate by a 2/3 margin. And, well, that's never going to happen.
Well, they're going to have, as far as the impeachment goes, it's moving to where, they're actually going to try him, and that's going to happen in the Senate. So he's going to get off. Because the Republicans hold the Senate. Yeah, there's no way in hell. Even unless the Never Trumpers in the center go over to the Democrat side, I don't think he's in any danger.
The Never Trumpers lost one of their biggest ones, and that was Graham, because Graham jumped on the Trump train pretty quick when he realized that things were going, or that he wasn't as much of an idiot as everybody thought he would be. I mean, Graham was a real hardcore Never Trumper at first. But then he saw how things were going, and he's like, you know what, this guy's actually not as bad as we originally thought, so I'm going to give him a chance. But then he just jumped completely on it, and it's like, holy shit. So yeah, the Never Trumpers, there's not as many as a lot of people thought, but there is still a fair amount. But if they can stay true to, or if they see the alternative of what's going to happen if Trump is removed, well, then I don't think they will push to have him removed, because a lot of people, here's something that should have been said. A lot of people all say that impeachment is removal. Impeachment is not removal. Impeachment is a formal complaint. So yes, I know a formal complaint has been levied against the president, so the impeachment is going forward. The complaint is going forward.
Yeah,
Removal
but
and conviction is a separate issue.
it's a black mark forever left on your record.
Well, yes, he will have that, but the thing is, I believe that when the Senate basically said or dismisses this whole thing as the sham that it is, they're going to, or he's going to use this to get reelected, and he is going, or chances are it's going to be a 2020 landslide. And I'm not saying that because I'm a huge Trump supporter and I love everything he does. Hell no, I don't love everything he does. I mean, Trump, or like Ben Shapiro says, Trump is like a hammer, and sometimes he hits a nail, sometimes he hits a baby. I mean, more often than not, he has hit nails, but every now and then he does hit a baby. And that's not good when he hits a baby. But the thing is, they don't realize, or if the Republicans truly do see the alternative of what's going to happen, well, here's the thing. You're going to impeach Trump. Well, all right. Here's what President Pence would do. He could easily, I mean, this was actually a meme. He could appoint a new vice president. He could easily appoint Trump. And here's the thing. He could then resign. Trump is vice president. He automatically takes presidency again. There you go. This is a closed loop. Now, if there's anything that can actually prove that wrong,
well, he can whatever, even easier. He can just pardon him.
Exactly.
Yeah, he can just pardon.
He could pardon him and say, you know what, you've been pardoned, and you're also my vice president. Yep. And there you go.
Welcome aboard, Brian.
Hey, what's up, man? Are you guys talking about the impeachment?
Yes, we are. Yeah. Yes, we are. And go ahead, man.
Well, the way I see it is they need the support of the Senate. I don't believe they will. But then again, since it is the establishment, they might see it as an opportunity. But at the same time, I don't see how this is going to help the Democrat Party in the long run because, I mean, they're right, yeah. But Pence can pardon Trump. But here's the thing. If they decide to impeach the president and Mike Pence runs on the ticket, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to see if they can get him out before the election cycle starts. If they could get him out before Election Day next year. Because
not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen because that's just going to go into parliamentary things, and it's a bad idea considering it's an election year, and everybody's like, we're doing our own campaign. We're trying to get reelected ourselves, you know, in the Congress and in the Senate. So this is really a desperation move, and no one likes to admit they're wrong because in politics, if you admit you're wrong, your career is over. 100% over.
Well, I think it depends on the degree of what you were wrongdoing, or of the wrongdoing. Because, I mean, if you stated something that was not truly really bad, chances are you're not going to get too railroaded. But yes, it is going to be a blemish on your record. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's my thing because if they admit that they overreached and gone too far with this impeachment proceeding, that's it for them. That is 100% it for them. They're damned if they do and damned if they don't because what they really should have been done is they should have been running on platforms that appeal to their voters.
Well, this is see, I want to point out the bigger problem here. Like, Democrat Party has a serious problem because, like, it's not the Democrat Party anymore. It's just basically it's a Democrat Party in name only because it has been hijacked by it's a progressive socialist party. There's no more Democrat Party. You're a Kennedy Democrat, forget it, you're out. You're a moderate, forget it, you're out. This is why that walk away movement was so successful because there's a ton of Democrats that got disenfranchised, threw up their hands and said, to hell with this, when they saw the way that the party was going and how they're acting. And
that's why Tulsi Gabbard.
That's why Tulsi is so popular right now.
Yep.
But
because she's a Kennedy Democrat.
But what's funny is she doesn't get a voice at all. They're doing a lot of the same things to her that they did to Trump. And Tulsi has her merits, yes. I wouldn't vote for her because she still has some out there policies that I disagree with. But she is getting this. I mean, she's a Democrat and she's getting the same treatment as Trump is. They're trying to silence her, shut her down, get her to quit. I mean, they're trying.
Yeah, but the damage was already done.
Well, she flipped the script, dude. Why do you think Harris got out? She torpedoed Harris from orbit in the little airtime she did get in the debate.
All she did was expose Harris for who Harris truly was.
Exactly.
I mean, not to mention the stuff that Harris. Or here's the thing: if Harris had won, or would have won the presidential nominee for the Democratic ticket, all Trump would have to do is constantly remind people of how she got her political power.
Oh,
She
yeah.
slept with a married man.
Well,
and
no,
broke a home.
it's not just the personal stuff, dude. I mean, you could just point out her record as a prosecutor, and that tells you all you need to know because she was, more crooked than a $3 bill. I mean, it's crazy. But the thing is moving into the bigger picture. Like I said, the way that the Democrat Party goes, so you've got it's run by radicals now. You got all these radical ideas, and it's basically they embrace more of the hands-on authoritarian style government. So It's no surprise that we're just going to circumvent this if we don't like what exactly the people want, enacted. We're just going to go ahead and circumvent it, and we're going to try to convince the people while we do circumvent it that it's benevolent and good for them. And they're failing on all fronts because you can't spin it any way that this is good. This is basically taking the democratic process out of the hands of the people, period. There's no way to spin this other than the fact of saying, you guys voted for the candidate that you wanted. We don't like it. We're throwing it out. And there's no way to change the optics of that. That is exactly.
They're used to getting their way. The Washington machine is used to getting their way, and promoting from inside the Washington machine. Didn't matter whether you were Republican or Democrat. If you were part of the machine, you were in, and you had a role to play. And you might differ on some things, but it's like organized crime. Where you have the two warring families, but once the police gets involved, they're like, and I mean legit police. They come together to eliminate the problem. Now more so than ever, it's mostly one side over the other. But there are people. I think once John McCain died, that the loyalty to the old Rhino establishment had faltered a bit because it's that was it. You saw Lindsey Graham change his tune because before John McCain died, Lindsey Graham was so far up his ass.
Oh yeah,
he was so far up John McCain's ass that they would just do whatever war hawk thing they would want to do. They were used to being the war hawks, the Bushes and the Rockefellers and the Fords and that was it. That was the way. That was the way. It's like they said, we're never going to have another Ronald Reagan. We're going to make sure we never have another Ronald Reagan. We'll have a George Bush type of guy every time. That's going to be our platform the whole damn time. John McCain died. Trump was the populist. And it's like, okay, well, I guess action is the new platform. So that's what they went with.
Well, look, I don't want to be that sound like Illuminati conspiracy theory guy. But
I'm that guy.
But I'm gonna be that guy, okay? Because flat out, you guys have heard it before. I know that on Creepy Little Book they've talked about the Agenda 21. They touched on that and stuff like that. But the globalist agenda, period. And the United Nations type of of thing where the UN is pushing all of this. I mean, there's some validity to it if you pay attention to the patterns, because you can see all the globalist politicians seated throughout the government. It's like, plain as day if you pay attention. That they make up a large portion of the New Democratic Party. They make up a fair portion of the Republican Party. And no surprise, as Brian points out, 9 times out of 10, those are Rhino Republicans. So, there's a reason for this. And if you go back to the roots and trace back, even before Reagan, you can see like the seeding of these guys in each party. And that agenda is pushing forward, because what does, the main things that Agenda 21 hits on is, the little like pod housing, the, real huge focus on climate change and why, it's so important that, everything is based around climate change, which, by the way, still hasn't truly been proven. Thank you. So, and I'm more on the side of the fact that it's a myth that is put out there to control rather than an actual thing, because the thing that's actually going on is a natural progression, because we know just from going to school as a kid and learning the fact that the earth has cycles. It's a natural cycle. But getting back to what I'm talking about in the bigger picture here, you can see all the dots connected. You have people with this obvious agenda, and it furthers everything on that list. So it's no surprise that when you have a president or anybody that's running anti to those beliefs, they're going to want them out, plain and simple. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, and the funny thing, and the funny thing is, there's even things that Trump does that that side would agree with, but the thing is, they can't stand it because it didn't come from them. It came from someone that's out of their camp, someone that didn't go through the rituals, that didn't go and do the initiation ceremonies. Hey, Biscotti, how you doing?
Yeah,
Biscotti.
Hey, Kitty. I'm a fan. I'm a cat dad. I'm a fan. The thing is, though, it's like I said, they're willing to sell out the democratic process because, hey, guess what? The quicker that you get the democratic process out, the quicker you can say, what'll save you guys? Like, just let the government take care of you. Depend on us. We'll do the heavy lifting for you. And they'll, they present that benevolent spin that, socialism is going to save the day. You don't have to worry about who's in there, because everybody that they're going to put forward for you has your best interest in mind. So it's easy to just throw that democratic process and free and fair elections out the window, and even if it isn't done that way, which, Trump has spoiled that at every turn, even if they don't get their way that way, then it's going to turn into, they're going to impose it a different way. So it's a constant battle here, but this definitely stinks because it sets a horrible precedent, because it really does put the result of free and fair elections in doubt. Because anybody at any time can say, "Oh, we don't like that. Let's impeach him."
Exactly, and that's something that actually a Democrat actually pointed out. I can't remember which one though, because they actually said, "Here's why this whole impeachment thing is a dangerous thing. If the next time a frickin' Democrat wins, and if the Republicans have the House and the Senate, all they need to do is say, well, let's impeach him, and they don't need a reason." Which is proven by this whole impeachment thing. They don't need a reason. they can come up with a fabricated reason, and they can have hearsay evidence, and that will be enough, because that is what was enough in this one to get an impeachment to go for it. It was nothing but hearsay. It was nothing but he said, she said, and she said, he said, and
Exactly.
that's all it was.
And again, I had to laugh because, you know, you got friggin' academics, college professors sitting on the stand trying to, like, you know, say why a president can be impeached, and they weren't even there. They don't have no evidence. There was one of the Republicans, I think yesterday or the day before, that so I can't remember if it was Getz or who it was, but he said, yeah, if any of you professors up there have any facts that you were there, do you have any facts, evidence in this case that we can impeach? Raise your hand if you do. And none of them raised their hand.
Yeah, that was Geitz that did that. That was Matt Geitz.
I mean, you know, that this is what I'm saying. They have nothing, which is why there was no material witnesses at all. There was nothing.
Mm-hmm. So now, yeah.
But my concern, my bigger concern is you know, and I'm in the same line of thinking as Brian. It's the process. You know, it's hard. We're on the road to losing our freedoms. You know,
We are.
I mean, Mar, he's lived in, you know, in a different country, you know, over there in Germany. He knows that in general around that region, I mean, a lot of a lot of countries don't enjoy the freedom we do here, and we're headed towards the route of a lot of those countries. So, you know, what do you think about all this, Mar?
Well, actually, I'm not that involved in American politics. So I can just say from the German point of view, and well, I do not like Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, he insults the Germans. He comes here and insults Merkel. Well, actually, I don't like Merkel too. But
Exactly. I don't think a lot of people do, man.
but well, he insults us, and if we try to send help or support to people in need, he even stops us from helping them. So that's why I do not like Trump. And as I say, we only get the shill media here.
Yeah.
So I cannot really say what really is going on over there. I just can say from what I've seen, what happened here in Germany, or what I see, what he brings on Twitter, which also is not a good example.
Yeah.
President.
Yeah, that's one of his banes.
And then there is the thing that I can remember he's saying that he won't go golfing as often as Obama, and all I see him do is golfing.
Actually, I actually seen him golf less compared to Obama.
Yeah.
When I stack up how many times I've seen Obama golfing and Trump golfing during their presidency. I mean, before that, Trump golfed all the time, and he used it as more of like a business meeting.
You can make the argument, honestly, that
like Obama kicked people off the golf course that were about to have a wedding at said country club in Hawaii.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that never came to Germany.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in Europe they look at they look at the United States and they wish they had a more democratic system of government, because a lot of them are under the gun over there, even though they're in democratic countries. You know, they're experiencing the same thing, where, you know, authoritarianism is creeping in, and you know, right now we still got it good, but we're headed down a bad road. And a lot of this stuff too, you know, you have like people that bring it to attention of, we've got a serious problem with our intelligence agencies, because a lot of them are operating in a rogue manner. I mean, you've got it proof that there's been espionage on American citizens by the government. You can get into that whole thing with Obama and the drone attacks. I mean, it boggles the mind. And then the biggest thing is people want to tie Trump to Russia and things like that, but lest we forget, Obama created the Iran deal. We did everything we could to further the causes of great countries such as China, North Korea, aiding Russia ourselves back at that time. I mean, the list goes on. But they want to come at Trump and say, "Oh, he's in bed with Russia, the Russia boogeyman." No, this was happening before Trump, but they declined to mention it.
Well, as Trump got elected, I took place in a bet that Trump wouldn't make it to the end of the first 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, it seems like I'm losing that bet.
That was a bad bet.
Yeah, I think that ultimately, when the impeachment is tried over in the Senate, they're going to go hard after actual witnesses. I mean, the Republicans want evidence in triplicate, which is good. That's what they should go for, because obviously at the core here, we want the truth. So they're going to go after that, and that's good. And very likely, I think we agree he's probably going to get, it's not going to be a conviction. I don't think it's going to be a conviction. Do you think it's going to be a conviction, Brian?
No, there's not going to be a conviction at all. This is a dog and pony show, and it's going to be more along the lines of it's testing the waters to see how much actual support they got, which is, I think, it's too late in the game, and this is their Hail Mary, because they do not have enough support on any of the candidates in 2020. I guess Bloomberg might be the closest thing to it, and if that's their trump card, then okay. But still, that's not gonna. Right now, he's delivering on just about everything he's made, or at least he's tried to, and he's still trying to, and people see that. So that's that. They don't offer any solutions like saying we're going to do this, 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 and this. They're like, oh, we're going to impeach Trump. That's what we're going to do. It's like,
yeah.
What solutions you got?
They're trying to take like Bloomberg and make him like a great value Trump. They figure,
Bloomberg might be their best shot, because I know the impeachment thing is not going to work.
Yeah, I still think because of what Tulsi Gabbard's gone through, she's got enough support. She's going to split the vote, dude. I don't think there's no chance that they win. She's going to split the vote. She's going to get a significant amount of votes.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing that people don't know about the Democrat Party, and it has nothing to do with their policy. It has nothing to do with their platform or anything. It has to do with how people are nominated. You are not nominated in the Democratic Party by the votes of the people. You are nominated by the delegates. And when the delegates can vote for a certain candidate, despite it, that doesn't reflect the actual votes of said state they were from and the superdelegates, that's how Hillary Clinton won hands down the nomination for the Democrat Party. Had the system been set up a little kind of like the Republican Party, there might have been like a contested convention between her and Bernie. But Bernie plays ball anyway. He's a shill anyway, so he's a fake whatever, and he's a piece of crap.
Yeah, he is.
Hate to burst
Well, the
your
one
bubble,
thing that I
but
will say about Bernie actually is he's honest.
No, he isn't. He's a piece of crap.
Dude,
he's honest because he actually says, we're going to increase your taxes. You're not going to have a good life.
Well, okay, he's honest on his policies, but I'm saying that like he flat out submits and bows down to the Democrat Party, and he takes it up the butt.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
Yeah. And he says, "Oh, I'm an independent from Vermont."
He's a lapdog. But,
yeah.
But the biggest thing that I don't like about Bernie is he tries to come off like he's going to be so benevolent and help the poor, but this dude is like loaded and has like 3 estates, and it's like, come on, bro. I mean, don't act like you're one of us. No. So,
I mean, I could go all day on Bernie. I mean, that dude got kicked out of the freaking hippie commune in the 70s because he was useless.
Right, exactly.
Not to mention, he also wrote a freaking erotic fan fiction saying that a bunch of women crave or fantasize about being gang raped.
Oh gosh, that's true. Hey, Biscotti.
Yeah, see, here's to address what SD just put there. Democrats are trying to pull what Mitch McConnell did with Obama, and it was Bush that let Russia return to its crooked state. Honestly, you touched on something good, SD, because I've long held this theory, and I'm sure you guys can see it too. Like, if you want to put 2 families that are the closest thing to modern day crime families that you could, take the Bushes and the Clintons, because they are both rooted in globalism, and they're related. They vibe back and forth for power. They have tried to run the scam where they've managed to keep someone from their family either in the presidency or in one of the high positions of power. Now, why do you think that is? And it's a constant. They've always got somebody in their family.
It's an American monarchy, and even Obama was is even like a 4th cousin to Cheney, 6th cousin to Bush. I mean, this is it's to and almost all the like a good handful, only a small handful of the presidents are not related to the British royal family.
Yeah, I believe it. And Cheney's dirtier than sin, man.
Oh gosh.
Everybody knew that. The biggest thing is they took advantage of Reagan, because Reagan was an honest guy, and they came to Reagan and said, "Hey, we'll."
How nasty it was on the 1980 campaign trail for the primary to be president for the Republican Party was nasty between Ronald Reagan and George Bush. You know why he chose George Bush? Because he had the proverbial gun to the head. It's like, okay, listen, we run the world, and if you want your sweet little wife Nancy to continue to live, if you want your kids to live, and you're going to put this guy as your vice president, and every now and then you're going to do what we say. So,
yeah, I mean, and it's been
the plot to kill Ronald Reagan. I sincerely believe, and this is again, you take it with it what you will. It was an Operation Monarch MK Ultra hit, and they did it under the guise of. This guy thought Jodie Foster was hot in Taxi and wanted to impress her. But no, what it was is the fact that his parents were friends with the Bushes. They were in town. They're going to have dinner. Yeah, that phone call. Yeah, no.
Well,
that was supposed to be a plot to kill President Reagan and replace him with George Bush Sr.
Yeah, it's just you can clearly see that pattern. Orange, I'm sure you've seen it. Everybody's seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Where they just have continuously tried to trade power back and forth. And
Yes.
so as long as one's in good, we're good. As long as the other's in good, we're good. And it because it's furthering their interests. Because
It's to protect everything. So they're throwing everything at Donald Trump, everything from insults
Mhm.
to just flat out trying to get him on legal grounds, which they can't, or innuendo, which they know they know those tactics would work on any other politician. But Trump's not a politician; he's a businessman.
He's a freaking billionaire,
And he's like, it's like, in business, you have to win. And if you're not winning, you might as well fold it up. And he refuses to fold it up. And so it doesn't work. So that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, it's
I mean, they did not expect him to fight. What was supposed to happen, this is what's supposed to happen, Drew. What was supposed to happen, they did not expect him to run for president. They thought he was just going to sell another book like he did the last couple times he teased to run for president.
sure.
What they was supposed to happen was Ted Cruz was supposed to take enough support away from Rand Paul so that Marco Rubio would get the nomination. Marco Rubio was supposed to actually be the president because they wanted it to swing back a little bit to get support to maybe lull some people to sleep, but then do all this stuff across the sea, whatever.
Well, think about it. He's perfect. He's Hispanic candidate.
But what did Trump do first? He went after Bush. Then he went after Rubio. He just went and he went
right down the list.
He went right down the list and got Cruz last. And I said, look, you think Ted Cruz is such a sweet Christian guy? Why in the world did he vote for TPP? Why did he vote for a Trans-Pacific Partnership, something that would have gave us an instant new world order in the box, And that's what happened. He completely blindsided the backup plan. The backup plan was that Hillary was the backup plan. She was a contingency plan. And she's like, oh, goody, it gets to be my turn. This is going to be great. Nope. Yeah,
the thing is, man, a lot of this stuff, I mean, you can take it back as far as Kennedy, because we all know, by now that it was hella fishy how Kennedy died, because Kennedy was going to he was going to out the whole thing. Every single thing from disclosure about life beyond Earth to friggin' the intelligence agencies going off of off the grid and doing their own thing. He was going to out that. He was going to out the mob ties that some of the people had in government. And he did not earn himself any friends. He was just going to clean up the whole thing. Like we say, drain the swamp with Trump. Kennedy was going to drain the swamp back then, and they didn't let it happen. They were like, "Oh, you're out of here, bro." And that's why he got his wig split, man. Because I mean, they didn't want that. Didn't nobody want to be outed, and he was especially like I said, he was going to out the globalists and the rogue agencies.
And the executive order 11110, yes, that's actually the number of it, was going to replace the Federal Reserve notes with actual U.S. Treasury notes, and they could not have that.
No, they were going to get off central banks.
Backed by silver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were going to get off central banks, dude.
Yeah, we were going to stay on. We were going to be off of fiat system. We were going to be on basically what was going to happen was exactly what Andrew Jackson did, which was another controversial president. But he said, "I want on my tombstone, I killed the bank." And back then we had what was called the Bank of the United States. And they did the same thing that the Federal Reserve does now. Fiat or semi-fiat currency only backed by a certain percentage of gold and silver. Now it's all fiat, by the way. And so what has happened is since Andrew Jackson said, okay, we're getting rid of this and paid off the national debt and whatever, three times assassination attempt on his life from the Rothschilds. And even one time the pistol didn't go off. He survived it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those things where he knew what was up, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's I think to a degree Trump knows what's up, so therefore he knows what the score is, and they're trying to get him out of there for that reason too. But it has nothing to do with him being like racist, because people know by now that he's not. It has nothing to do with anything else. He's just shutting down every little scam that they have going. Like if he implements, the restrictions on immigration that we sorely need, if he implements that stuff, then guess what? A lot of their voter base and potential voter base goes away, because they can't sit there and just flood, the U.S. with a bunch of, easily manipulated foreigners. They can't do that. So that goes away. So that hurts them. And then, you got him cracking down on all the other stuff that they want to do. And it's just they just want him out of there, because he's a step ahead on all of it.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
Orange, go ahead and take the lead for a second, because I gotta use the restroom.
all right. One of the other things that they also didn't expect. I mean, have you guys? Here's a thing that I actually learned or found out a little later after Trump was elected. Have you guys ever heard of the Lolly Lule Low theory?
Sounds
It's a Metal
familiar.
Gear Solid reference. It's a Metal Gear Solid reference.
Which one?
It's basically, it was the code name of the Patriots.
Oh yeah. Or the Sons of Liberty.
It was basically based on the whole thing where the Patriots were basically the actual rulers of the United States, and the president was just a figurehead, which the president is actually a figurehead.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, basically, the final thing for Metal Gear Solid 2, and trust me, people, this does have political annotations, and this is political. If you actually look how the Patriots talk to Raiden, how they explain things to Raiden, if you look at what the U.S. has become today, you will realize that the people who wrote that game, who said all those things, back when this game was made, which I believe was early 2000s, it's like, holy shit, they're right. It actually happened. Consumerism, freaking basically mindless masses, and everything. And I'm not saying this is a conspiracy theory that there is some shadowy organization behind the scenes. I am simply saying that they have actually worked the people up in such a frenzy over their hatred for Trump. Not everybody, but the left, that they will literally believe anything that is told to them, and they will take it on faith in a way that is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, very blind faith, and it's not just it's not just trying to set someone up for whatever. It's not just trying to frame somebody. It's just flat out saying, okay, so if I were to call up CNN today, pretend that I am an insider on the White House and said something to the degree like, I saw Donald Trump naked in the Oval Office taking acid, and every now and then Mike Pence partakes while Melania does a striptease. If I were to call up CNN and say that and it said I'm an anonymous insider in the White House, they would put that on almost immediately.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then it's like that's how like
Well, this goes
arranged it is.
this goes back to the importance of and I pointed this out. I think the good Lord above that I got the opportunity to write for a great independent publication because independent media is great because right now we're some of the only people that out there that actually poke around, search for facts, search for the truth, and ask questions. And that's supposed to be the function originally of the mainstream media. And if you notice, shortly after the days of Walter Cronkite, you don't have like the straight newsman that comes on during the 6:30 national news and tells it like it is. You don't have reporters out in the field telling it like it is, searching for facts, because now all stories are, is what fits the narrative, and that's a bad thing because they're trying to condition people rather than inform. When you move to conditioning instead of informing the population, without an agenda, at that point, you all the credibility is gone. And so many people out there don't understand the fact that mainstream media really is like it's permeated with just conditioning and a lot of garbage, and a lot of the escapist entertainment is that way too, and that's why the Phantom Menace is so important, because we point that fact out all the time, that
Yep.
hey, people need to wake up. You guys need to realize that your escapist entertainment is gone.
It's
It's
become propaganda, and over the years, yeah, there's always been some form of propaganda subtlety in our entertainment,
sure.
but to the degree that it is now,
No,
oh my
yeah,
gosh! I mean, it's
crazy.
like we really just want to sit down and read like we're sitting here bombarded every day on the news, at work, at school, wherever we are. It's like, I just want to sit down, watch a TV show. I want to sit
And,
down. I want to watch a movie. I want to sit down, read a comic book,
right.
whatever. And then
And
you just like, what is this? I can't escape it,
mhm,
And then and you have people that say, okay, well then we'll make our own stuff, and they call them racist and sexist and everything else under the book. And you say, and anytime you see it, yet you say to people like, oh yeah, I'll just say. Well, we'll just take it for example. Like say, okay, well, let's say Dan Slaughter, Mark Lee. It's like, okay, why are you guys doing that? And then you get lashed out at, like it's like blah 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 blah. You don't have the privilege to talk to us, blah 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 blah, all that sort of stuff.
mhm.
And so it's like, I just asked a question is why you're taking it in this direction instead of just tell me why, or just, you don't even have to respond to me, but instead, hey Mora, instead you have to hear this sort of like spiel about why you're so bad because you dare question these great writers and great editors.
Well, yeah. This is the thing. If it's a simple principle. If you're one of the people that if you dare to ask the question why, then you make yourself, you paint a target on you. If you dare just to ask the question why, because there's such if you really go and search for the truth, you paint a target on you. And a lot of people these days are either afraid to search for the truth. They don't want to. They don't want to put themselves at risk, put their reputation at risk, put whatever reason. But a lot of people are afraid of that, so they don't speak up. They don't ask questions. They don't sit there and say, this does not equal that. What's going on here? People don't do that. They just, accept it. And that's why, again, it is so important. You guys doing what you do with your YouTube channels, the writing I do with Bounding, the sites that are actually not idiot shill sites, the independent media sites. Everything like this is so important. People like Tim Pool, very important, because the mainstream media is just absolutely permeated with nothing but narrative. There's no stories like independent of that at all.
Mhm. No. I mean, because it only goes to say that if there are people that have left, let's take for example comics. There are people that have left the big two that want to do their own thing, doing these crowdfunding campaigns, whether they're Indiegogos or Kickstarter, or maybe they're teaming up with Samedi with Alterna and doing the distribution thing that he's doing. If there's these alternative platforms, like, okay, well, if we're not going to get good stories here, we'll get good stories there. And so it only makes sense to have an alternative outlet like Bounding into Comics, like Bleeding Fool, to counteract sites like Bleeding Cool and CBR and Newsarama, or what, that are
Mary Sue.
The Mary Sue. Oh, they just changed their name to Mary Sue and just call it all.
Gosh, I could go a whole year without hearing the name of that cum rag of a magazine
I know.
or of a website. I mean,
I wouldn't even use it for toilet paper if I was.
That's exactly what I said one day.
The other thing, look at the New York Times, look at Variety, all these that were once supposedly, great magazines that were about like entertainment and life and things like that. They're all filled with narrative too. There is nothing, you can't escape it. And that's the important thing, which again is why, the internet can be used for so much good. Why our YouTube channels are so paramount. I mean, it's just we are on the front lines of being able to inform and actually, bring free thought back into the forefront, or at least keep it from being out of the forefront. So, that is that to me is the most noble cause of all, because if you peel away all the layers here, man, there's a lot of sinister stuff going on. And to counteract that, we've got all of us in the greater independent thinking community, and that is a good thing, because there needs to be a return of common sense. Really.
Oh yeah. It's like
yes.
I would say quite often, it's like growing up, it used to be, well, I don't agree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. Now it's agree with me or else.
Yeah,
agree with me or else you're Hitler. That sort of thing. It's like, man, my gosh,
that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
And it's indoctrination. I blame the public education system for it. I really do.
Oh well, the education system, around the world has turned into has gone from education to indoctrination centers. It's crazy, when you have, I'm sorry, when you have drag queens reading like 3-year-old kids stories and gyrating their bodies around, toddlers. That's to me. that is just that bothers me. You know,
It bothers
these
the
are
hell out of me
things.
too.
There's the things that these are concepts that children should not be exposed to until they're of the age to make up their own minds.
I mean, yeah, like for instance, you have the children's like they're gonna mimic what they see, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and they might not always stick with it. They might find it funny. It's like, ah, ha, ha, that, you know. But those like, oh, wait a minute. Did Tommy just do something like do like a curtsy, or did he just, you know, do like a limp wrist or whatever? It's like maybe Tommy identifies as a girl. Maybe Tommy's not a boy. Maybe Tommy is identified as. It's like, how are you gonna? You can't do that, you know. I mean,
No.
growing up,
What
I
you-
did impressions of all things, you know, both men and women alike, and that's what you do. You do impressions if you think it's funny, you know.
Yeah.
And even now, you know, we do impressions of the opposite sex, and
But children that young, dude, they don't understand, you
they
know.
do not.
And it bothers me, you know, with a lot of this stuff. And Mar, I don't know if a lot of this stuff goes on in your country.
Well, actually, that's a funny story actually, because we are a little bit more diverse than you in the USA would be, because we have gay stuff out, and we do not really care if a character or an actor is black or gray or green or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
if you know what I get, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, we get it.
I'm talking about, though, more like they don't expose children to this when they're that young, do they?
Well, actually, yes, we do, but we do that for a long time already, and we do not indoctrinate them with it, because we are not the ones that go to the people and say, you have to watch it, you have to like it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I told
Sure.
my brother and his ex-wife, as they got their kid, my nephew, I told them, if you let him watch Teletubbies, I will kill you.
Okay.
Because that makes children stupid.
I don't know. I saw a Teletubbies video on YouTube of the Teletubbies dancing to Dimmu Borgir. So, you know, I mean, that's like my all-time favorite, you know, Teletubbies thing. You know, Mel. By the way, Mel, love you. Good to see you. But you know, I've actually seen I've actually seen videos of that. So yeah, there is video out there of that, and yeah, it was just disturbing to me. You know, I feel like there's a certain age to
That wasn't the worst what they did either.
let people know about that.
The worst thing that they actually did took place in New York City, where there was that 11-year-old kid who is a drag queen who went to a gay bar and danced on stage while removing articles of clothing and getting money thrown at him by a bunch of gay men, adults. And they said no cell phones are allowed in this place. But somebody actually did get a cell phone in there, and they recorded the whole damn thing. And here's the thing. The news praised this kid. Michael Strahan, a freaking NFL legend, man. Well, not really legend, but a freaking NFL star back in the day, praised this kid after all of this stuff was exposed. And yeah, it's like, do you not realize what you are doing? You are praising this kid after pedophilic behavior.
The only thing this kid should ever be praised for is the fact that he conned a bunch of old perverts out of money. but still, that's
Exactly.
still wrong. But I mean,
I give
mean-
it to him for his enterprising sense, but I don't think that was what he was
no,
going for.
that's not how you want to make your dollars. But
I
The
mean,
parents,
if there's any silver lining, that's it. But no,
Yeah.
and the parents, they never got penalized either. I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is not okay. This is technically against the law. This is sexual exploitation of a minor under the age of 13.
Yeah,
And you have turned profit off of this. So you have also been caught with prostitution charges. You two are unfit as parents. You are going to be doing state time of 20 years or more.
Yeah, I don't think that we should necessarily become like friggin' like prudish society at all. But at the same time, there has to be some common sense when especially when dealing with our kids. There's certain things that kids need to be, educated
Decide-
on. But
Decide
there's
for themselves.
right, exactly. There's
They- It's no problem if they grew up with everything and get the stuff explained in
yeah, exactly.
a normal manner.
Hmm.
But
Thank you.
if it gets forced on them, and if they think they have to be that way, that's just wrong. Because
Well, yeah,
they have-
it's like Mar when you have the parents like the 5-year-old like forcing the kid to transition. That is no bueno.
You're talking about the thing in Texas?
Hmm.
Yeah, sorry,
see,
my
that-
internet went down a little bit.
that's
See,
what bothers me. That's what bothers me is when the
Welcome back.
government steps in and forces you, especially a child that has no because what I've seen, some of the kids that have transitioned at an early age before they were even close to being an adult, both legally and physically, a lot of them have grown up to commit suicide.
Yep.
And that's because they were robbed out of the experience of what they were born with,
Exactly. They were.
Because looking back, I mean, if for whatever reason, you do something that seems a little effeminate as a child, whatever, and then your parents say, okay, well then you must be a girl, and they change you into a girl. That's really got to be messed up. I mean, and I say this to some of my, some of my LGBTQ friends, and we're cool, everything's good. I say, I understand homosexuality. I understand pansexuality, bisexuality. I do not understand transgenderism. I understand cross-dressing, but I do not understand getting a sex change.
Well, if you guys remember last year, oh my gosh, man.
And I really
thing is-
I really don't understand why you would do that and
Yeah.
go through that and just pay all the exuberant amount of money to make the transition, and then have to pay all this money, all this time recovering from your surgeries, hormone replacements, mood swings, stuff that you wouldn't go through if you did not transition. That's just I mean
Yeah,
that's just
exactly.
my
And
that's
here's-
just my take on it. I mean hate me if you want, but that's just my take. I just don't understand it. Why you would put yourself in that, considering that,
And
maybe later in life you actually need something like, I don't know, like a transplant of like an actual internal organ that could save your life.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with Melanie. She put it so well right there. If you were transgendered, wait until you're an adult.
Wait till you're an adult transition. Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
that is exactly
Exactly.
it, because they have such a high rate of suicide and depression, and
And
your
it stunts
mind
your growth. It stunts
your
your growth
mind
too.
is your mind is fragile. even when you're 18 years old, your mind's fragile, but at least you can at that point make an adult decision. And that's an important fact here, because I've always been one of those people. I grew up, that there's two genders, and I will always feel that way. But I don't have a problem with people that strongly feel like they want to live their life as the opposite sex. Hey, go for it. But do it responsibly when you're an adult, because you're putting yourself at risk if you try to do it before that. And oh, Mel, I love when you make sense. God, you just nailed it. And by the way, just to introduce Melanie to everybody, she's a dear friend of mine. I've been friends with her well over a decade, and she's amazing, and I love her. She is absolutely, absolutely family to me, And Mel, unashamed, I say this to everyone here: I love you. No,
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
the thing is, all right, go ahead, Mar.
well, the thing is that I do not understand gay people or transgenders, and I do not know why people want to have a sex change at all. I think that's up to them, and they really have, or they really should be in an age where they can decide that stuff for themselves. And also, they shouldn't be talked into it or out of it, because if you have, for example, a gay son, or a son that is into other men, and you tell him, yeah, well, then probably you are a female, and we just didn't know, then probably he wants the sex change because he thinks he's a female, but he is not. But then again, as I said, I cannot really agree with that either, because I don't know what those people are thinking.
Well, Mar, there's even traditional, like, just normally gay people that don't understand it as well. So if you're, if you struggle to make sense of it, like I said, there's
I'll be right back, guys.
Sure, no problem. There's people in the LBG community, not necessarily the T, that don't get the T part, because they're attracted to who they're attracted to, and they're happy just being still a man, but loving other men, and that's fine. The transgender movement has come into the fore. It's a part of the LGBT community now, and I understand that. But I'm just hoping that people make informed decisions about transitioning when they do it. And do it at the right point in life. And I definitely do not agree with outside influences like their own parents, like trying to push it on them. And that is a problem,
Well,
Yeah.
a friend of mine, he is gay. He had his coming out. I knew him before he had his coming out. And he said to me, Mar, I do not understand it. I've had my coming out, and 90% of my friends are gone now because they do not want to have anything to do with me anymore. Why are you staying? And I said, you haven't changed. You are still the same person. I said to him, I'm a little bit upset because I tried to send some ladies over to you that I should have kept for myself. I would have known earlier. And I said also I'm upset because you never hit on me. Yeah. Well, I'm straight. Don't get me wrong, I'm straight. But if a friend of mine is gay and he hits on me, I know I'm beautiful.
Mar, I agree with you right there, because
beautiful man.
I got gay friends. I work in
Sure.
the show business
all do.
stagehand or whatever. And it's like, how come I'm never hit on?
Yeah.
I mean, don't I look good?
Nah.
Yeah, but
You know what, Brian? I don't look good either, man. Join the club.
but I mean, I think so. Maybe I'm a narcissist. I don't know. I'm not a narcissist, but still.
Join the club, bro. I don't get hit on either. I don't look good.
No, I mean, my wife thinks I look good.
I'm just a short Asian dude.
I have this friend now for 20 years, and he is a veteran. He served in Afghanistan, Iraq. So much respect to that man.
But
If I would want someone to watch my back in a really bad situation, it would be him
yeah.
to check on my ass.
But no, I think the most important thing about this stream and the principle that I wanted to bring across is, the one thing that you should do in life is fight for your freedom, and B, fight for the truth. If you do that, you can't go wrong. And I urge people, whether you're watching this live, if you miss it and you come back and watch this later, you should effort and strive to do those things, man. Don't be afraid to question anything, search for the truth, and fight for your freedom, because it's so, so, so important.
Yep.
And, make sure that when you want to find out about something, even history, because history is in danger these days. A lot of people are trying to rewrite it, revise it. But if you want to find out about unfiltered history, don't be afraid to do research. Again, look for the truth, because it is out there. So, I do want to thank everyone that hopped on this stream, because, I was feeling some type of way all day, man. And there was no way I was going to get any work done today until I actually
Gotta let it out. Gotta let it out of your system. You
got
really do.
all of this out of my system. Exactly, Brian. You know what I'm saying, dude. I've been
Oh yeah.
fired up all day long.
I mean, prior to, let's say, since I want to say 2006 to I want to say about 2012, I felt like I was screaming at a wall. It's like, pay attention, people. Pay attention, people. Whatever. Go stand in the corner with your tinfoil hat, and then it's like, that's it. I'm out. You deserve the future you get. I warned you. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then sure enough, I don't like being right on these things. I don't. And then, people said, you know what, maybe it has gone too far. It's like, let's elect a guy that's not one of them. And then that happened.
Yeah, it's not even, it goes beyond political leaning. It goes beyond, all of that. It just goes back to, don't ever let people curb free thought. Be a free thinker. That is the most important thing. And unfortunately, we're headed to a future that is looking to curb free thought. And, the biggest thing that we have to do is be diligent to not let that happen. That's why all of this is so important. That's why freedom is important, and that's why definitely searching for truth is important.
Mm-hmm. When they get offended that you are asking questions, whether it's about entertainment or whether it's about a policy, and you get the whole spiel like saying, "How dare you? You know, you let us make decisions, not you."
We need the Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, how dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah,
Well, see,
Yeah.
since I'm in the Phantom Menace, I get a lot of more facts of what is happening over in the USA, and I see that it is slowly sweeping to Germany and other countries, which is, from my point of view, very dangerous. Because here in Germany, we have had that. We have had the diversity and everything, and now it's becoming a thing that has to be done. While
Yeah,
it actually was natural already.
organic,
It was
organic,
natural in the USA.
organic and natural diversity is fine. You know, and most places have had that. It has just been, you know, in recent history that it's gone to, like you said, Mara. That's a very good point. It's gone to the fact where it's, you know, it's forced and pushed, and you know, the biggest thing at that point, it becomes an authoritarian edict instead of the fact that of letting it happen naturally and organically. Because at our core, human beings are accepting people.
Here
You
in
know, for the
Germany,
most
we
part.
have tried that in 1930, and where did it bring us?
Hitler.
Not that far, and he wasn't even German.
Yeah.
it was Austrian.
He
Yep.
was Austrian, and he never became German, for as far as I know.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing that I can urge. You know, those of you watching, please, you know, think freely, search for the truth, and fight for your freedom. And it's the biggest thing that I can bang on. So why I was so fired up to do this stream today, and you know, again. Thank you so much for just letting me vent. And man, the people on this panel have been on point today. Welcome back, Kitty.
Welcome back. And
Brian, I had a blast talking with you, dude.
Oh, well,
I
I mean,
want-
same here. I mean, this is my kind of my forte. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
I wanted to say, back in the day as I was younger, we have had a show here by the name of the Bully Parade, and they have had clips of Traumschiff Surprise. Gary got a copy from the movie,
Mhm.
which is high quality. Well, we have in that movie, Bully Herbig actually had a lot of CGI and stuff, which is not normal for a German production. And in this clips that he had in the Bully Parade and even in the movie, he used the Enterprise, and everyone on board is gay.
Nice.
It's just funny because they make so much crap with it. So, for example, they've had
Cool.
Darth Vader visiting the bridge of the Traumschiff Surprise, and he's just breathing hard, and no one knows what is up to, and they try to speak to him, and then they ask him, is he friend or foe? And he comes up with a lightsaber. Yeah. And they're like, oh, he's a friend.
Oh, that's great, dude.
Oh, he's a friend. That was
Oh,
so,
that's classic. Oh man,
so you get into the gay thing, but with fun while doing so. Yeah. At last, that's how I would see it. And I always respected and accepted them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, you know, we have we have there's an area here, a town called Lakewood, and we have a very you know, significant gay population there. It's actually one of the biggest you know, gay cities in the U.S. as far as you know, just with their community. We're definitely one of the most known and most active, and Lakewood's great, man. You know, some of the sweetest, most awesome people that I've met, you know, friends and acquaintances are gay, and hey, it's great, you know.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
if I could,
there's only one gay person I'm mad at, and that's because he promised me that we would go hang out and get a beer, and that was 5 years ago. I want my beer.
There you go.
but no, that's cool. But no, I mean, doing things like learning sound for drag pageants, that's an interesting experience, but it can be a lot of fun too.
oh,
Yeah.
well, I have to
the
say,
the like I've gone, like I've seen, you know, I've seen a drag show before, you know. I mean, and man, I'll tell you what, some of those drag queens pulled it off like a champ. I was like, damn, you're a hot motherfucker. But you know, I mean, you know, I can appreciate it even as a straight person. That doesn't bother me. I don't get like repulsed by that. I mean, you know, the only problem that I have with anything in general is just, you know, when young children are exposed to,
Yeah,
you know, really hard lifestyle choices and things like that, or you know, questions of like sexuality, man, no, it should, it's that stuff should be reserved for, you know, when they're at an age where they can make an informed decision. That's the only thing.
well, I would like to get my friend Kohalavar on one of those streams if he has the time for it, and if he actually would like to come to one and see what he has to say about it. As I said, he is ex-marine and now he is lawyer in the USA. So I think he has some intel that might be interesting, and also I think he is way more laid back than I am, if that's the right term.
Yeah, well, you're laid back all the time, Mari. You just chill in your chair and drink a lot of cola.
Well, you know what people say. If you do not have much to say, just don't say it.
Yeah. No, it's all good, dude. Not, you know, and I appreciate you giving the perspective. You know, it's fascinating to talk to folks from other countries. That's why, you know, I love making I love making friends like that are outside of the U.S. because it's so fascinating just hear them talk about things in their country and their culture and everything else, because you know, I like to learn about that stuff.
Because we have so many different people from different countries. Here in Germany, we have not really the German society no more. We are kind of a mixed, multicultural, mixed thing. And we actually worked our way into it. I speak 8 languages if someone lets me. That's why I often have to think about words in English and in German, because there is also Turkish and Russian, Polish, and all the other stuff, everything that comes together. Because I do not really like if someone talks behind my back in their home language and I do not understand them.
By the way, really quickly, you know, I keep putting my friend, you know, I keep putting Melanie on blast, but like, Melanie has been there for me through like, through the years with all the stuff, like she knows intimately what's going on with my mom and I, and she's also like countless occasions been there for us, whether she's called me, at my house, or talked to myself or my mom, or just like she's even at times put groceries on the table for us. She's amazing, and she's just been like so good to me, and and she'll always and forever be a part of my heart. And the thing with Mel, is she she'll be tickled to know that the people that I've met here on YouTube, and you guys in the general community that have either come over as subscribers, or just to watch, or that I've met you out of the Fandom Menace, whichever or both. It's just like, it's amazing to see the kindness of strangers and the human spirit, and I can't really articulate the gratitude that I have for everybody and what they've done to help the situation, not only myself, but with my mom, and man, I'm so grateful for you guys. I know I sound mushy, and I'm sorry, but I just had to say that, because all you guys are amazing human beings. You really are, and
So,
I'm honored to know you.
can I get some hands in the chat for Melanie? Melanie.
But and Moira has been such a sweetheart. She's been amazing too. She's tried to get the word out, and she continues to try and help raise funds, and everybody else that's gotten the link out, and Rosetta's done amazing work trying to get the word out there. So I mean, it's just all you guys. You guys have been there for me. Even when I'm having my bouts with depression, people have been reaching out lately, like, man, you all right, Drew? Talk to me. My buddy Script Doctor, who, again, man, I adopted him, and he's just he's been so good, on a personal level, like looking after me, and I feel like now I got a kinship with Brian. So,
I'm glad, brother. I mean, and going back to, I mean, like a fandom collective, anyone that's, it's not just Fandom Menace. I mean, there's some Comicsgate channels and other things that just kind of are in there. And they said, if you have a YouTube channel, especially if you're a small channel, reach out to us. We'll retweet just about every video you do, and they have. And had I not been for them, I had not met Moira. Had not been for Moira, I had not met Rosette, and I have not met all of you. So it all kind of comes full circle. So, and it's amazing. We live in like a small world. How like one event and one reaction leads to another, leads to another, and leads to another, can lead to something really awesome and great. And I'm just thankful today that I was able to get my work done early, so I was able to come home early. And as soon as I got home, I looked at my phone, saw that you sent me a link, and here we are.
yeah, and like I said, we were able to have kind of a different stream today, because normally when we're like goofing around, when we're chilling like in Rosetta's stream or something, we don't get to always like touch on these type of subjects. And it's good that we could get a lot of this stuff like out there, because we don't get to talk about it a whole lot. So it's nice. And if we get some people that have some interest in this stream, maybe down the road we'll have to do another one of these. But
Let me know early so I can prepare a little bit.
right, we did this off the cuff and on the fly, so I get it for sure. But it's closing in on almost 4 in the afternoon. I know that there's some things I was going to look at writing for mounding before and through dinner, and then tonight I'll be back with my regularly scheduled stream with Script Doctor and Rosetta and Brian the Gravedigger. We're gonna get into more of reviewing Treadstone and things like that. So we will be back at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So I will see everybody then. So for everyone on the panel, I'll go around the horn. If anybody wants to plug anything they have, say what's going on, now's the time. I know since Orange Hat Reviews is like AFK, I'll quickly plug his channel. Orange Hat does YouTube videos on a variety of different subjects in pop culture. He reviews movies, so on and so forth. So you can check him out at youtube.com/Orange Hat Reviews. Brian, what do you have going on?
All right. Well, my name is Brian the Observer, and I do some comic reviews here and there, but I also talk about things like conspiracy theories. I don't really focus too much on the the news, or the entertainment news, like what goes on with Star Wars and things like that, because everybody else covers it. Here, I'm going to go ahead and screen share just so you guys can have an idea of what there we go. All right, so that's my channel page. So look, I have loudest bands and audio tips, which I am a sound guy by trade. So I talk about all different types of things. I even geared up. I even talked about some things political. Chinese are collecting DNA samples. FBI warns against smart TVs. Things like that. So I'm just kind of a grab bag of all things from my little observation deck. So if you want to check me out, I'm there. And I just recently opened up a Teespring store. And here's the Fandom Collective. God bless them. They even tweeted out my Teespring store, and that's the shirt I made recently that they think is so great. I was dissing on Disney before
it was a good cool shirt, you guys.
Yeah, it doesn't cost more than $15. It's a little bit more than $15, and if you do standard shipping now on any of my products in the Teespring store, you want to go for the lowest rate shipping. If you want to order it now would be the best time, because that means you'll get it before Christmas. Otherwise, you got to pay the higher prices for the express shipping and things like that.
What'd I miss?
All right. Well, welcome back, Orange Hat. I just plugged your channel actually because we were going around the horn getting ready to sign off here, but I missed the latter half. I'll let you go ahead and replug your own stuff in your own words.
Alrighty, well, I'm Orange Hat Reviews. I basically give movie reviews, TV reviews, show reviews, all sorts of reviews. That pertains to entertainment. I also do news on the controversial things that go on in Hollywood, and I don't bullshit. I give it to you straight. I give my own opinion and whatnot. Yeah. It's a fun channel. Give it a like, give it a look, and all that.
You give it to me, all right, sexy. Oh yeah,
I'll give it to you, and you'll like it.
Gotta buy him dinner first.
Yeah, at least take me on a date first, man. Get me some Denny's.
Come on.
I used to work at Denny's.
Oh man, dude. Yeah, I'm sure there's stories about that.
Take him to a steak.
Oh yeah, there are.
Mar, what do you have going on your channel?
Well, channel is Mark Krell, and actually I'm doing mostly cosplay events here in Germany for people who are interested in knowing what we have going on while we have some big events here.
Show off your Mandalorian helmet too.
Smaller events. The Mandalorian helmet. Hey, yeah, I'm playing a Mandalorian myself, but that's not my favorite helm, honestly. My favorite one would be this baby, which is, as you
Nice.
can see, Death Trooper. It's
Yep.
original. It's an original helmet from Anovos. And who knows anything about Anovos knows they are pretty expensive. This baby cost me $800.
Holy shit, man.
I saved 3 years to buy it.
Yeah, I would have too. It would have taken me like freaking damn. It would have taken me about roughly 2 to 3 years.
You know, one of my wrenches out there. If somebody before you go, if you could share the link. If you guys want to, if you guys would like to, you know, support the situation that's going on with my mom and I, please, please, you know, drop a donation in the PayPal. I would normally do a GoFundMe, but GoFundMe changed their TOS. They changed how they actually distribute their funds, and GoFundMe really isn't a conducive thing. So fair warning, if anybody's thinking about doing a GoFundMe, yeah, put some serious thought into it, because like they make you wait something like 7 days before they'll even release funds to you. And if you're in like a rough situation, yeah, it's rough. And then they also increase the amount that they actually take out for their own fee. So yeah, you know, do with it what you will, but fair warning, you know, they have changed. So I do have a PayPal that's attached to our family account. If you would like to help out my mom and I, she recently had a stroke and almost passed away. You know, we have some crushing medical bills and everything else. And, you know, any help is appreciated, never expected, but it's always appreciated. So thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Drew's good, people. Sub to him.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you would like to sub to the
Donate.
channel, obviously, I am trying to learn the YouTube thing here, and I intend on adding more content video wise to the channel. And I'm always doing live streams on here. We do a live stream every week, so you know, make sure to keep an eye out for those, because I always tweet it out before I go live. So I want to thank everybody very much for watching, for hanging out. Tommy, you got in like right at the end as we were wrapping up, so that sucks. But you can watch it back and see what we were talking about. But thank you very much. Thanks everybody that was in here: Wrenchin, Moira, Tommy, you know, all the great mods, and thank you to the panel. Brian, Mar, Orange Hat Reviews, and
Very welcome.
we love you guys. We will see you soon. Script Dr. Melanie, love you. And I will talk to you guys this evening.
Much respect to everyone, okay?
Yep. All right, take it easy, folks.